What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Triple THS, brought to you by Kountermove Fantasy MMA at Kountermove.com. I'm the parking lot speed bump of mixed martial arts, Tommy Toehold. Today, my UFC on Fox 13 Kountermove picks. Let's do this shit! Fight fans, UFC is back on Fox, and this card just kicks dicks in. I mean, there's not a single dick that is not being kicked in by this card. It's free, it's on regular TV. You could buy a fucking antenna and a small TV and watch this card in your bathroom while you take a shit. Not only is it free and you can watch it while you're shitting, this card is fucking stupid awesome. Nate Diaz is returning, the Reem is taking on the Skyscraper, Matt Mitrione and Giant Freddie Mercury. The fucking main event is Stone Cold Stipe taking on Junior Dos Santos. Holy fucking shit. I honestly think that this might be the best UFC on Fox of all time. You know you're gonna watch it. You're not forking up shit for a pay-per-view level card, so why not take the extra cash, invite some friends over, and everybody hop in a Kountermove Fantasy MMA game at Kountermove.com, because it's gonna make a great card a great fucking night. Tommy, I don't know how to play Kountermove. I wouldn't even know where to begin with these fights. A group of ninjas has taken my family to feudal Japan. All right, calm down. I'm gonna teach you how to play Kountermove right now. I'm even gonna go through every single fight on this card coming up Saturday night, and in regards to the ninjas, there is nothing I can do for you. Your family is dead. Let's take a look at this card. The first thing you're going to want to do is head to Kountermove.com using your favorite internet browser. Once you're there, you will without a question notice professional hot person and distance running Wonder Woman Natasha Wicks. If for just a moment you avert your eyes, you'll notice that there are all sorts of Kountermove games below. Big ones, small ones, any kind you like. I like the ones that have my name written all over them, like this $10,000 tourney for UFC on Fox 13. 25 bucks gets you in, the winner gets $1,000, and the top 77 spots pay out. That is what the fuck I am talking about. Once you've chosen your game, you're going to be brought to the team selection screen where winners and losers are fucking born. You're gonna pick a team of 5 fighters, your fighters perform, you rack up points, you win. Notice I said team, as in fantasy team. This isn't Las Vegas and these aren't straight picks. Just like your fantasy football team, your fighters need to score points, and they do that by performing in the cage. We're looking for finishes and fast to rack up the big points. So with that in mind, let's take a look at what we're working with for Saturday night, starting at the bottom. Okay, first up, we've got Ed Herman and Derek Bronson. Ed has a ton of experience. 88% of his wins are stops. He has lost 10 times, 6 via sub, and once via KO. He's not had a first round stop since 2011, and his last 3 fights were decisions. Bronson is a Team Jackson guy. He's got a 66% finish rate. He's been KO'd twice, and he had a first round stop just last year. At a 66% finish rate, Bronson is probably not worth 5,000, but Herman might be worth the 4,600. He has a very high finish rate. He's a crafty vet. I would not pick on this one, but I would go with Herman as a value pick if I was going to. Next, we have Stefan Struve versus Alistair Overeem. Struve is coming back from a very long layoff. He had a heart issue that has been cleared up, had some sort of incident before his scheduled return. There's lots of question marks here. He's got 16 submission wins, which is a shit ton for heavyweight. He's got 7 KOs. His finish rate is 95%. When he wins, he finishes. He's been KO'd 5 times, had a very impressive win over Stipe Miocic, stood right in front of Mark Hunt and just got destroyed. Reem has 37 wins, 15 KOs, and 19 subs. He's got a 92% finish rate. Fight fans, this fight is going to get finished. Reem has been KO'd 9 times now, only sub twice. He lost his last fight via TKO. He has had a very bad run in the UFC so far after finishing Lesnar. Honestly, this one is pretty much a toss-up, and I think it could go either way. You will most definitely want to pick on this fight because there probably will be a finish, plus the price is right. I'm going with the Reem because this is do or die for him. He's fought twice this year, and Struve has been gone a long time. There's just too many question marks about how he's going to perform. I think the Reem stops him. Next, we have Garrett Whiteley and David Machado. Whiteley has 7 wins, all finishes. He lost once via KO. He's had 2 fights in the UFC. He lost both. Lots of first round stops in his early career against low-level talent. Machado is 7-1. He's got an 86% finish rate. Has lost once via decision in his UFC debut. Who the fuck knows with these two? They're even money for a reason. There is a high likelihood of a finish here, but with very little data and UFC experience, it's hard to say who will fare better. I would avoid this one unless you know something about these two fighters that I don't. Next, we have Dustin Kimura and Henry Cejudo. Kimura has a 91% finish rate, the majority via sub. He's 2-2 in the UFC, but both wins were finishes, 1 in the first round. He lost his last fight via decision. Cejudo is an Olympic gold medalist in wrestling, making his UFC debut finally. He pulled out of his first fight at the last second due to medical issues. He has a history of having trouble making weight. The UFC has made him fight at a different weight class to make sure he can make the weight. His last 2 fights in Legacy before the UFC were decision wins. He's unbeaten but relatively untested. I think Kimura gets the sub here, but at a new weight class and being a world-class athlete, I would not count out some fight in Cejudo. So if the fight goes long, it could be bad. I'm not sure Kimura is worth the 5,600. I would be careful with this one. Next, we have Gabriel Gabriel Gonzaga and Matt Mitrione. Gonzaga is a heavyweight mainstay. He has a 100% finish rate. He's been KO'd 6 times, lost a decision to Stipe recently. He's got KOs and subs in the first round everywhere. Plus he killed Crow Cop. Mitrione has a high finish rate. He's got 7 KOs. Very high level athlete. Guys, this fight will end and it will end fast. You will want to pick one of these two. Mitrione won his last 2 via KO. He does not have as much experience as Gonzaga. I'm torn here. Part of me says Mitrione's gonna rip through Gonzaga. He's got a ton of miles on him, but another part of me thinks that Gonzaga's smart. He's been around a long ass time. He's good with subs. I could see him catching Mitrione. You have to pick on this one, fight fans. They're too cheap and they finish too much not to have them on your team. Heavyweights are always a good choice. I think I'm gonna go with Mitrione here. Next we have Joe Riggs and Ben Saunders. A fucking blast from the past. Riggs has 40 wins. He's fought forever despite only being 32 years old. He's got a 90% finish rate with 20 KOs. He's lost 7 times via sub, 5 via TKO. This will be his first time in the UFC since 2006. He is on a 6-fight win streak, and he won Bellator's Ultimate Fighter ripoff thing. Saunders has 17 wins, an 82% finish rate, and 8 KOs with 6 subs. He's been KO'd 3 times. Another guy who used to fight in the UFC and has fought his way back. Riggs is on a tear right now. He has more wins than Saunders has fights in his career. It sounds crazy, but I think he gets the win here. Not sure if Riggs finishes fast, but definitely worth considering. Next up, we got Joe Ellenberger and Brian Barbarina. Ellenberger has overcome a lot. He has a rare blood disorder. Really tough first fight in the UFC, but he grinded it out and got the split. He's got 1 loss via decision. He's got an 80% finish rate with 8 KOs and 4 subs. Barbarina has an 89% finish rate in 9 fights, mostly via TKO. He's been finished once via sub. He's making his UFC debut. Several first-round finishes. There is just too much unknown about Ellenberger. I don't think he gets finished if he loses, but I'm also not sure you want to put 5,400 on him to win. I'm going to avoid this fight. Next, we have Claudia Gadelha versus Joanne Jędrzejczyk. These are 2 unbeaten fighters. Claudia has a 66% finish rate, mostly subs, has 7 first-round finishes in her career. Jędrzejczyk won her debut. She has a 57% finish rate. She knocked out Rosie Sexton right before entering the UFC. If you know anything about Rosie Sexton, you know she's a tank. Almost impossible to put away. Jędrzejczyk is a 6-time Muay Thai world champ. These two are not high finishers, but I would not sleep on Jędrzejczyk because anyone who can knock out Rosie Sexton is someone you do not want to fuck around with. Next, we've got John Moraga and Willie Gates. Moraga has a 60% finish rate, mostly subs. He's been beat 3 times in his career, twice by John Dodson and once by Demetrius Johnson. He only loses to the best. He won his last fight via sub in the second, and he's got a first-round finish over Ulysses Gomez. Willie Gates is making his UFC debut. He has a 73% finish rate split between KOs and subs. His last 5 fights were first-round finishes. Gates has been railroading people, but he's just making his debut against someone in Moraga who has fought everyone there is to fight. Unless Gates is a world beater, I don't think he wins this fight, and with Moraga's low finish rate, I would avoid this one altogether. Next, we have Ian Entwistle versus Anthony Burchak. Entwistle's making his sophomore effort in the UFC, has a really high finish rate, mostly subs, lost his UFC debut via first-round TKO. Burchak has a high finish rate as well, mostly subs. This will be his UFC debut. Won 4 of his last 5 via stoppage. He will be a hometown guy. Both of these guys finish fights relatively unknown in the UFC. Entwistle has to travel from the UK. Burchak will be fighting from home. I'm gonna go with Burchak, but not sure if I want him on my squad at 5,500 unless I can afford him. Next, we've got Jamie Varner taking on Drew Dabur. Varner is a longtime vet of the sport. He has fought everywhere and everyone. He has an 85% finish rate over 21 wins, 11 subs, and 7 TKOs. He's lost 4 times via sub, twice to strikes. He is on a 3-fight skid in the UFC. Dabur has lost both of his UFC outings via decision. He's got a 71% finish rate, lots of subs, 5 losses via decision. Dabur hasn't shown that he can beat high-level talent yet. Varner, while experienced, is still only 30. He's fighting in his hometown. He needs this fight to keep his job. He's got a high finish rate. Look for Varner to win big here. All right, next we got the co-main event, and Rafael Dos Anjos taking on Nate Diaz. Dos Anjos has 22 wins, a 45% decision rate. His last win, he dropped Bendo in the first round. He beat Cerrone last year. His losses are primarily decisions. Diaz has a 78% finish rate, 11 subs in his 17 wins. He has lost 9 times, 7 of which were decisions. Last time he fought, he stole Gray Maynard's cookies in the first round. Both guys have been in the sport forever and are damn near impossible to finish. This fight will probably go the distance or late into the fight. Both of these guys will be comfortable if the fight goes to the ground or if it stays on the feet. It's gonna be a badass fucking fight. I think it'll be fight of the night. I'm gonna go with Diaz via decision, but probably won't be going on my countermove team. And finally, we have the main event, Junior Dos Santos taking on Stipe Miocic. Dos Santos has 16 wins, most of them via TKO or KO. He has only lost in the UFC to the champion Cain Velasquez in brutal decision finishes. He has massive power. He has a submission win via strikes. This dude hurts people bad. When he throws shots, he throws them to kill you. Miocic has 12 wins. He has 1 loss in his career. Stefan Struve dropped him. He decimated Fabio Maldonado in his last fight. Took Roy Nelson to church with some beautiful boxing. Really smart fighter. Dos Santos will be a huge jump up in second competition for him. I think this is a fight that looks simple on paper. JDS is a long-time ass-kicking monster at heavyweight. He's elite. Most people assume he's gonna railroad Miocic, but I think that's a very dangerous way to look at this fight. Miocic is a freak athlete, really fast, great lateral movement, has some of the best boxing in the division. He was a D1 wrestler and a basketball player. He is not going to just stand in front of JDS and take shots. He's gonna move around. You're gonna see some highly technical boxing on his part. These are both two high-level strikers who are smart, and I think this fight will go to the fifth. A lot of people, I'm sure, are gonna say that a safe pick here is JDS for an early stop, but I'm going with the upset here. I think Miocic wins a hard-fought decision at the end of the night. Okay, now that we've gone through your options, it is time to pick your team of 5. I'm gonna go with the Reem, Mitrione, Jędrzejczyk, Burch, and Varner. But you pick whoever the fuck you want. Once you're satisfied, hit play now, invite some friends. Come Saturday night, you can check out how you're doing against the rest of the competition. You know you're gonna watch this card because it's fucking awesome. So why not make the most of the night, invite your friends over, have some beers, eat some pizza, and play Kountermove Fantasy MMA at Kountermove.com. It'll make you care about the first prelim as much as you care about the main event because you're invested in the fighters winning, and your friends will be too. It's a fucking blast. Invite everybody you know, get in your own tourney, get in my tourney, have a great fucking time. For Triple THS, I'm Tommy Toehold. I will see you on the leaderboards. Literally, I will see you. I am watching you.